he's an amazing man. He said, the hell with the polls. Get out there in the street and find out what's going on. Listen to people. Don't look for the people who love us. Look for the people who don't like us. And see what they're saying. Because oftentimes they were the people we had to deal with in the long.
When I was governor, I once said I would rather cross the political aisle than cross the people. I've never seen a Republican fish. I've never seen a Democratic highway. Most of the things that we deal with are not partisan in nature. And it's the importance of getting people together and collectively then deciding where to go and making sure we make progress.
Dan, for all his greatness as governor and as a leader of the party, was never able to cause the election of a friendly King County Republican chairman.
Well, you never go 100%. I hear too often is people saying, well, if you just do nothing but compromise, you have no values, you have no things that you feel very deeply. And that's totally wrong. You can be willing to listen to another side and still have deeply felt convictions. And I think I do, and I think Slade does, and I think almost everyone does. But that doesn't turn an opponent into a bad person.
Opponents are not enemies. Yeah. There is a difference. And you can respect an opponent, you can listen, you can talk, you can try to persuade.
We've, I remember vividly arguing vociferously on the Senate floor with another member from the other side on an issue, and we really went at it pretty hard. 10 days later, we were co-sponsors on a different bill where we had the same idea.
But the values of listening, the proposition that no one ever learns anything while he or she is talking, are values that you can communicate, I'm convinced, with your own generation. Just never giving up, working hard, being thoughtful and articulate, and doing a lot of listening.
One of his common sayings was, in for a dime, in for a dollar. Everybody who worked with Slade has heard that expression a lot of times. And he didn't always win, he didn't always prevail, but he won a lot more times and he was successful, and his legacy is enormously larger because if he went in for a dime, he went in for a dollar.
And a politician is a practitioner of the art and science of government. And in that respect, everybody ought to be a politician, because if you're not an active participant in what's going on in government and in politics, you're sitting on the bench while everybody else is playing a game.
For it is in individual service that the hidden assets of America really lie. It's time now to reach inward, to reach down and touch this troubled spirit of America. The nation's great resources, its enormous capacity for goodwill, its culture and the traditions and institutions of more than 2 centuries, the skills and the arts of its people. These aren't in doubt, only their utilization and only those who govern their use.
How do we inspire young people to get active in this political process, because their voices are so necessary for this dialogue and because we really aren't that divided as people and we agree on a lot of things?
I think first you have to persuade them to learn, to read, to know the history of the United States, to know that the kind of times we're going through now are not all that dissimilar from what they were previously. In the 1840s and 1850s, there were assaults on the floors of the House and the Senate in Washington, D.C. Even in the Adams and Jefferson administration, the names they called one another were every bit as tough as they are today, but they were at each other's throats. And yet, each time was was succeeded by a success, a calmer period. There'll be a calmer period in the future. We just got to try to hurry its onset and make it stronger.
So I'm an optimist. We're going through a tough patch, and I think we'll come out of it with, and the best way to come out of it is to really have respect, not only for those you are working with and those who are your compatriots, but even respect for those who have absolutely opposite ideas.
And we've got a surplus of celebrities, and I think we've got a shortage of heroes. But I think when you run for office, you say what you think, and then you get down there and you do what you think is right, and then you have the election, and if they don't like what you've done, they throw you out.
The burdens of citizenship aren't easy. They are great. They demand time and talent and energy of each one of us. But the rewards, if we respond, are even greater. Not in money or material possessions, but in the gifts which come with the knowledge that each person has done a full share in protecting and advancing the precious gift of self-government. A great president and a great man, one who was deeply immersed in the problems of his day, but whose vision extended beyond the needs of his immediate generation, put it exceptionally well. Theodore Roosevelt said, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbled, nor where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred with dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, and spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best, in the end, knows the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat." We do